Let's get to the top story today. Talks between U.S. President Donald Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in Beijing have concluded. According to China Central Television, the two leaders exchanged views on West Asia and Ukraine wars and also Korean Peninsula. Trump met Xi as China hosted a military reception for the U.S. president at Great Hall of the People. The two leaders shook hands after Trump arrived in a motorcade to the steps. Trump, alongside Xi, inspected military honor guards and received a 21-gun salute. At the start of the meeting, Xi expressed happiness to receive Trump for the U.S. leader's first trip to China since 2017.
Have always believed that the shared interests between China and the United States outweigh our differences, that the success of each nation represents an opportunity for the other, and that a stable China-U.S. relationship is a boon for the world. Cooperation benefits both sides, while confrontation harms both. We should be partners, not rivals, helping each other succeed and prosper together, thereby forging a new path for the proper way for major powers to interact in this new era.
Those that say this is maybe the biggest summit ever, they can never remember anything like it. I can say in the United States, people aren't talking about anything else. But it's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be your friend. And the relationship between China and the USA is going to be better than ever before.
After the meeting, Trump visited the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Temple of Heaven, constructed in the 15th century. It's a huge complex home to 92 ancient buildings with 600 rooms. Here, emperors of the Ming and Qing dynasties would offer sacrifice to heaven and prayed for bumper harvest. Trump was accompanied by Xi to the monument. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
President Trump's visit to Beijing is the first U.S. presidential trip to China in nearly a decade and comes at a tense moment in U.S.-China relations. President Xi and President Trump have now concluded their bilateral meeting in Beijing, and as we await for more details, the bigger takeaway may be that both sides appear focused on stabilizing a relationship that has become increasingly tense regarding trade, Taiwan, AI, and the Iran conflict. Publicly, the tone is very friendly as expected, with both leaders emphasizing on cooperation, economic ties, and whatnot. But underneath this diplomacy, the strategic rivalry is very much alive. China wants predictability from the United States, and it wants easing pressure on tariffs, while the Trump administration wants help on Iran trade access and a supply chain as well. The likely outcome of this summit may come down to a managed competition at the end of the day more than anything else. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Now to discuss more on the meeting between Trump and Xi Jinping, we are now being joined by James D.J. Brown. He's a professor of political science at the Temple University, Japan, and political analyst as well. Professor Brown, thank you for joining me on the broadcast today. Firstly, let's talk about the statements that have come in from both the leaders. President Xi Jinping said that U.S. and China should be partners and not rivals. Now, after those 2 hours of behind closed-door meeting, is this détente a sign of a new era?
No, I don't think it is. I think that, of course, it would be nice if we were entering an era of greater cooperation. But what I see instead is a situation where the main challenges remain, and yet at the top, both leaders are really trying very hard in order to have a degree of stability, a degree of warmth at the top, in order to sort of paper over some of those very serious differences. Differences over trade, of course, differences over Taiwan. And it would be fascinating to see what was actually discussed during those 2 hours of talks. On the outside, however, we just have to wait a bit longer before some of that news begins to emerge.
Right, we'll wait out for the clarity, as far as the details are concerned. But, and also I'll come to you about Taiwan in just a bit, but there's also talk of a new board of trade for non-sensitive sectors. Do you believe, is this a genuine effort to decouple national security from the daily commerce, or, just a bureaucratic band-aid for a relationship that was fundamentally broken until this meeting?
And I think this is really important and very much a positive step if it can be agreed. Now, both sides recognise that there are some very serious areas of disagreement over strategically important goods. But the relationship is much broader than that. It's very deep, with a huge amount of trade going in non-sensitive areas. So if a board of trade can, in a sense, separate the two things, can have that for the non-sensitive goods, we can clear things out of the way, we can have a smooth trading relationship, and then we can just concentrate on the difficult areas. I think that would be very positive for both countries and indeed for the global economy.
Right. And Professor, you were earlier highlighting that there are serious differences on trade. Now, Trump has brought a very high-powered delegation, including Elon Musk and Jensen Huang, to Beijing. Now, is this a sign that U.S.-China relations are being privatized now and shifting from that state-level structural reforms?
I see it as a strong indication of Trump's foreign policy, that he presents himself as a businessman. He wants to come away with business deals. He wants to have things which will grab the headlines. So in a way, what better way of doing that than bringing a very heavy-hitting delegation? Now, that's not necessarily to say that right now at this moment you're going to have major deals kind of announced, but it's a way of the Trump administration demonstrating to China that many in China like to present the United States as a power in decline, with its best days behind it. But in bringing this huge delegation, Trump's saying, look, we've got an enormous amount of vibrancy, we've got important, powerful companies, and we're here for the future.
Right. And, you were mentioning Taiwan earlier. So Trump did indicate that he would discuss the Taiwan arms package with China. Now, by bringing this to the negotiating table, is he effectively using Taiwan as a bargaining chip for trade concessions? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think that is included. That, again, it goes back to Trump's general approach. For him, almost everything is negotiable. And so if it means revisiting some long-held principles, perhaps compromising on some things to do with Taiwan, he would be willing to do that if he gets something for America and for him in return. Now, that could be on trade, that could be on Iran, such as assistance in bringing this conflict to an end. And as I say, if that involves concessions on Taiwan, for the people of Taiwan, the big concern is that Trump would be willing to do that.
Right. And, just one more thought on Taiwan. Now, Taiwan remains the world's leading chip maker, right? Now, if Trump does pivot towards bringing chip making home through deals with, say, NVIDIA or Tesla, because their leaders are in Beijing right now, does that make Taiwan less essential to the U.S. defense strategy in any way?
Well, yes and no. Yes, you're absolutely right that one of the reasons why Trump is not that supportive of Taiwan is because he doesn't like their dominance of the chip industry. And absolutely, he would like to see deals to bring more of that chip industry back to the United States. But I say no at the same time because Taiwan's position in chips is so strong. Its expertise is so substantial. You don't change that overnight. So even if there is a shift away from Taiwan, that would take many years, and Taiwan's position in that area would remain strong.
Right. All right. Thank you so much for joining me with all of those insights. We'll keep connecting with you as details emerge. Thank you. On that note, I'll let you go.
Thank you very much.